What is up, everybody? Matt Modi here with Jedi Modi Sports Network, here to give you some NBA player prop best picks for today, Friday, October 27th. What we're doing is we're heading to the splash zone. And what that means is I'm giving out my favorite three-point made props, pumping up those numbers just a little bit to get pretty juicy odds. The results have been there. Granted, it's only been 3 games, but again, the results have been there. Yesterday, I gave out 3 picks on this YouTube channel. Now, one pick I gave out was a non-splash zone prop. I gave out Maxey over 26.5 points plus assists. That cashed. I had Joel Embiid 2+ made 3-pointers. That cashed. The one loss I had of the day was Austin Reeves 3+ made 3-pointers. Not the correct play there, but we end the day 2-1, up 1.65 units on the day. That brings our total profit from the season to date, which again is only 3 days, but that's all the information we have, on these splash zone plays to up 3.65 units. We'll take it. I've only been playing half unit plays on the splash zone props as well, as I'm trying to just make sure I get a good understanding of what the NBA season is going to look like. So I didn't want to just totally kill myself betting too much at the beginning. For today, we will be going to 1 unit props. So let's hope I don't screw myself here. But real quick, before we get into today's picks, would appreciate it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me along with this journey to see how well I can do with these splash zone picks. But then, of course, you can also like the video and comment as well. Comment, let me know if you're riding, if you're fading, if you like plays that I didn't mention, comment that as well. And that's all I got. So we can get into today's picks. Let's get wet. The first play that we're going to go ahead and lock in here is in the Warriors versus Kings game. We are taking De'Aaron Fox, 3+ made 3-pointers. This is at plus 250 odds at FanDuel. The majority of these plays are going to be on FanDuel because they offer alternate lines when most sportsbooks don't, because they are lame. So just keep that in mind. So looking at De'Aaron Fox, he only made 1 3-pointer in the Kings' first game against the Jazz. But the reason why I like this one is because he attempted 7. That's a lot of 3-point attempts, especially for someone like Fox, who came into the league as not a great shooter. He's really worked on his jump shot, and it's come a long way. Sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way, but really all we can do is bet on that type of volume. If he puts up 7 3-pointers, how often is he going to make 3? A pretty decent amount. And for plus 250 odds, the volume's there. So for this game, they play the Warriors, pretty big game. I'm guessing he's going to put up another 6, 7, 8, 9 3-point attempts like he did in game 1 and like he did in the playoff series that they played last year. Now, a lot of times, what I love doing is finding situations where you can almost fade the most recent pass, which is what we're doing here. He only made 1 3-pointer, which in the stat books, people are going to say, oh, he only made 1. He's not a good shooter, but he put up 7, right? And generally those things tend to even out, right? Obviously it might not even out literally the next game, but over time, his jumper is going to end, or his 3-point props, or his 3-point percentage is going to end, I don't know, 37 to 40%. So if he has one really bad game, in order to even it out, he's got to have a really good game. Now for this game specifically, the Kings play the Warriors, as I mentioned. They were not a good defense from 3 last year. They gave up 12.9 made threes per game, which was ranked 24th in the NBA, the 24th lowest. And these two teams had a grueling 7-game series in the playoffs last year. And keep in mind that Fox broke his finger midway through the series, right around games 5 and 6. But listen to the 3-point attempts that De'Aaron Fox put up in this series. 8, 10, 9, 11, 10, 5, and 10. That is a ton of 3-point attempts, the lowest being 5, which was when he broke his finger. Game 7, De'Aaron Fox only played 26 minutes, and he still put up 10 attempts. Now, in the first game of the year, he put up 7 in 33 minutes. I love that type of volume. I will bet on that type of volume anytime. So getting him at plus 250 to make 3, I think is really good value. If you want to ladder it, take him to go over 1.5. You can do that as well. I'm only tracking the 3+ as our first play. Next up in the Raptors versus Bulls game, we're taking Scotty Barnes, 2+ made 3-pointers. This is at plus 210 odds at FanDuel. Now, this one does require a little bit more of a projection because Scotty Barnes had a very disappointing sophomore season. and the majority of that disappointment came from him, his lack of shooting. What was disappointing was he only attempted 2.9 3-pointers per game, but was even more disappointing was the success, which was he shot 28%, which is pretty bad. The Raptors admittedly have a weird roster, so the spacing is always going to be a little bit clunky, but they're going to need Scottie Barnes as a team to take a leap as a shooter, and he's going to need that for his personal growth as well. After his rookie year, you would have thought the sky is the limit for Scottie Barnes, and he had a disappointing sophomore year, as I mentioned, and it was just a weird year for the Raptors overall last year, so you wonder if that was just kind of one of those lost seasons, and they can improve upon that this year with the new coaching staff. But with how disappointing Scottie Barnes was this year, my guess is that he is going to come into this year and be a lot better. That's a projection, right? I don't know if that's the case or not. And it's only been one game, but at least he did attempt 4 3-pointers in that one game. Granted, he only made 1, which isn't great, but I like the fact that, he attempted 4, right? That's more than his average was last year. Again, it's only one game, but the only thing we can really do, especially at the beginning of the year, is just bet on attempts and hope that the shots go in. It's worked so far, but we'll have to see. This game specifically, the Raptors are playing the Bulls, a team that I targeted for Tuesday's slate and did get that one to cash because they do give up a lot of threes. This year, obviously, it could be different. It's a different team, blah, 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 but similar roster, same coaching staff. Last year, they allowed 13.2 made threes per game. That was the second most in the entire NBA. So let's hope Scottie can get 2 for us. I will say, all of the splash zone plays that I've cashed so far have been on 2+ made 3-pointers. So maybe that is the sweet spot, finding players just to make 2. But we will see. For our next pick and our third and final pick of the evening, Heat versus Celtics game, Derek White, 3+ made 3-pointers. So I'm going against that, but I still think that's okay. 3+ made 3-pointers, plus 300 odds at FanDuel. Another defense that gives up a ton of 3-pointers, that would be the Miami Heat. That's something that the Celtics took advantage of last year in the playoffs. They lost the series overall, but they put up a ton of 3-pointers, as the Celtics do. They just shoot a lot in general. But the reason why I like this play a lot, in last year's playoffs, in the series against the Heat, was a 7-game series. In 6 of those 7 games, Derek White made 3 or more 3-pointers. In 6 of 7. The only game that Derek White missed was game 7, in which he attempted 9. So even in the game that he did not hit 3, he attempted 9 3-pointers. So that's pretty good. That's a lot of volume. Just had a bad shooting game. That happens. Well, guess who the Celtics played tonight? That would be the Miami Heat. Now, the concern here is that Derek White only attempted 3 from deep in the Celtics' first game against the Knicks. And we admittedly don't know what the Celtics are going to look like outside of their main 3 with this new revamped, improved, whatever you want to call it, just different roster. Despite the lower output in game 1, I was always under the impression that Derek White was going to have an even more important role on this year's Celtics, because what they did, they basically replaced Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon for Jrue Holiday, so 2 guards for 1. Now, they made improvements at the center position with Kristaps Porzingis, but they're still going to need someone to take those guard minutes. I think that's going to be Derek White. The team's different, so we'll have to see. Again, that is a projection, but considering how well and more importantly, how often he shot against the Miami Heat in last year's playoffs and how important he was to the Celtics in that series, I think he's going to put up a ton of 3-pointers in this one. Again, the Celtics want this game, so I think they're going to go a little bit harder than a normal regular season game to get the victory here. That means Derek White shooting a ton of threes. Hopefully that means him making 3 for plus 300 odds. The volume's there. And that's it. That is all I got. 3 plays for you guys to tail, 3 splash zone plays. All we need is one of those 3 to hit, and we are at least going to be profitable. If we get all 3 to hit, we will be rich. So let's hope for that. And that's all I got. So appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Enjoy the games tonight, and have a good one.